Hello all my yarny friends, I'm Sara Sach and welcome back to my crochet channel. Today I'm going to show you how to take a bunch of leftover yarn scraps and make an adorable bucket hat for you to wear. It's a super easy pattern. It'll fit anyone from a 22 to 24 inch head. It's very stretchy and comfortable to wear. Bucket hats are my favorite hats to pop on when I'm just running to the store and I don't want to take the time to set my hair or, do a lot of work. Not really for a bad hair day, but of course it'll work for that. But you can use any colors in your yarn stash and every hat will be different. Now the pattern calls for medium weight number 4 yarns and we use simple stitches, double crochets, single crochets, and we have one row where we stitch in that back loop in order to form that nice ridge that makes it look like a bucket hat. And they're perfect for the guys, for the girls, and for the kids. It's very comfy, easy to make, and lots of fun to make as well. So this hat is great for the guys and the girls, and you can make it in any colors that you like. So you can always grab out some of the favorite colors of the person that you're going to make it for. Now you can find the complete pattern with pictures on my blog, and as always, I'll put that blog link down in the notes underneath this video. We'll be starting the hat from the top and working our way down to the brim. I'm not going to give you color changes because you can see I changed colors just whenever my yarn gave out. What I used to do my color changes is I just pulled it in on the next stitch, and I'll show you how to do that. And you will have to do a little weaving in, of course, if you're changing lots of colors. So you can see I have a bunch of different colors in here. Some of them are variegated. This is that leftover sprinkle yarn. And you can use any colors and combination of colors that you would like. Now I wrote this pattern using medium weight number 4 acrylic yarns. But if you want this to be cotton, grab your cotton stash. Just make sure it's all done in cotton or all in acrylic. Because if you mix your fibers, it's going to wash up funny. Cotton and acrylic don't act the same in the wash. The same thing with wool. You could do it all in wool. But remember, if you mix them, your wool's going to felt where your acrylic and cotton is not. All right? That's for when you put it through the wash. I'm going to show you how to do a color change as we go along, just so you know how I did it in order to make it easier when you're changing colors. But of course, you can use any colors or combination of colors of yarn that you would like. You're going to need approximately 3.5 ounces of yarn for this hat to complete in this size. Now I only made it in the one size. It's a youth to adult, and it'll fit a 22 to 24 inch head. If you want it a little bigger, you can always go up a hook size. If you want it a little bit smaller, you can always go down a hook size as well. But we're going to be stitching with our eye hook today, which is a 5.5 millimeter crochet hook. You need a needle just for weaving in ends and a pair of scissors. Now go get in your yarn stash and see what you can come up with. So we're going to begin by making a circle. So here's my slip knot. I'm going to chain 5 and join this chain 5 into a circle. So I'll put the tail of yarn over my hook and pull it through that loop. And then I'll make that stay knot. Now if you would prefer to use a magic circle or another method, that's totally fine. So we have our chain 5. We're going to go in, pull up a loop, and chain 3. This chain 3 counts as our first double crochet. And now we're going to stitch 9 more double crochets, so we have a total of 10 double crochets for row 1. Yarn over, go in, pull up a loop, yarn over, go through the first 2 loops, yarn over, and go through those last 2 loops. My yarn ball didn't want to stay in my container. Alrighty. let's see how many I've stitched. So here's my chain 3, counts as my first. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I need one more for 10 double crochets. I'm going to join to that chain 3 with a slip stitch and chain 3. Now before I go any farther, I like to go ahead and close up this hole in the center if there is one. We can just pull on that, grab our needle, and we'll weave that in. Now you can do this at the end if you want to. I just like to go ahead and get it done. Close up that circle and weave that in so it doesn't come undone. We do not want a hole in the top of our hat. All right, I'll cut that yarn. And now I have, for row 1, 10 double crochets. I joined to the chain 3 and chained 3. All right, let's do row 2. Our chain 3 counts as our first double crochet, and we're going to double crochet in the same chain as our chain 3. And now we're going to place 2 double crochets in each of the double crochets around. Now I cut my green yarn because I want to show you how I like to change colors on this hat, and I've got some orange yarn here. So what I do is I start the next double crochet and then I finish it with my next color. This gives you a nice crisp double crochet on your next stitch. If I would have gone ahead and finished with the green, the loop on the top of this one would have been green and it wouldn't look as neat and tidy. I like the random color changes in this hat, but I also want it to look neat and tidy. All right, so I'm just going to continue around stitching 2 double crochets in each of my double crochet stitches from the previous row. Now if you prefer to do a different style of color change, like maybe use the Russian join or something, that's totally fine. Before we finish this row, I do want to show you what I do on the inside. Is I do what I call a stay knot. I take those 2 ends and I just put them together like this. And that keeps them from coming loose. And then I come back in when I'm finished with my hat and weave all those ends in. All right? All righty, so I'm going to continue to stitch 2 double crochets in each of those double crochets around. I completed row 2. We stitched a double crochet in the same stitch as our chain 3 and then 2 double crochets in each of the double crochets around. So we have 20 double crochets. We're going to join to the chain 3 with a slip stitch and chain 3. Now for row 3, we're basically doing the same thing we did on row 2. We'll stitch a double crochet in the same stitch as our chain 3 and then 2 double crochets in each of the double crochets around. We want the top of our hat to be flat so that it looks like the bucket hat that we're trying to make. All right, and so by adding 2 double crochets in each of those stitches around, we're going to get a nice flat top on our hat. Two double crochets in each of the double crochets around, and then we'll join back to our chain 3 with a slip stitch. I have completed round 3, and so I have 40 double crochets. I'm going to join to the chain 3 with a slip stitch, but I want to show you that another good place to change colors is at the beginning of your next row. That way, if you want to keep your rows even and not have little, spots of color that are awkward or random, that's totally fine. You can bring in your next color and then do your chain 3, and then you'll have one row that's all one color. Make sure you keep everything snug down. There we go. And for row 4, we're not going to be stitching a double crochet in the same stitch as our chain 3. We're going to stitch a double crochet in the next 2 stitches. And that will give us 3 double crochets. Then in the next stitch, we're going to stitch 2 double crochets. 1 and 2. And this is the way the pattern will work for row 4. We'll stitch 1 double crochet in the next 3. 1, 2, 3. Then we'll stitch 2 double crochets in the next. 1 and 2. And repeat. 1 double crochet in the next 3. 1, 2, 3, and then 2 double crochets in the next. 1 and 2. And this is the way that row 4 will work. We'll repeat 1 double crochet in the next 3, 2 in the next, all the way around, and then again join back to our chain 3. I have completed row 4, stitching 1 double crochet in the next 3 and 2 in the next, and repeat, so you have 50 double crochets. We're going to join to the chain 3 with a slip stitch and chain 3. Now, for row 5, our chain 3 counts as our first double crochet, and we're going to double crochet in the next 3. 1, 2, and 3. And then we're going to stitch 2 double crochets in the next stitch. Oops, get in there. Alrighty, so the way the pattern works for row 5 is 1 double crochet in the next 4. 1, 2, 3, whoops, 4, and 2 double crochets in the next. 1 and 2. Control that yarn ball over there. And so we'll just repeat 1 double crochet in the next 4 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And 2 double crochets in the next. 1 and 2. And we'll repeat this again, working all the way around and join back to our chain 3 with a slip stitch. I completed row 5. We stitched 1 double crochet in the next 4 and 2 in the next, and repeat all the way around, so you have 60 double crochets. We're going to join to that chain 3 with a slip stitch, and we're going to chain 3. Now for row 6, we're not going to increase anymore. What we're going to do is we're going to be working in the back loops only and stitch 1 double crochet in each stitch around. So when you look at the top, you can see on the top that there are loops. There are loops on this side and this side. The loop facing you is your front loop. The loop here facing away is your back loop, okay? And we're going to be stitching in those back loops. All right, so we'll go in that next stitch and stitch in the back loop only and stitch a double crochet. We're not increasing. We're going to have 60 stitches, and I'm going to change colors here. Bring in this bright pink. There we go. And I'll just continue around stitching 1 double crochet in each of the double crochets around, working in the back loops only. Now you'll know that you've done this correctly if you see this row right here of unworked loops. All right, that's how you'll know that you're stitching in the proper loop. So, one double crochet in each of the double crochets around, working in the back loops only. This is going to cause the sides of your hat to sit down and give us that nice flat bucket look on the top of our hat. So again, just to repeat, I'm stitching one double crochet in each of the double crochets around, working in the back loops only. I have completed row 6. Again, we stitched one double crochet, working in the back loops only, in each of our double crochets around. We did not increase or decrease, so we have 60 double crochets. We're going to join to that chain 3 with a slip stitch and chain 3. And now we're going to begin building the sides of our hat. So we're just going to stitch one double crochet in each of the double crochets around. We're not working in the back loop only anymore. We're stitching it just regular, going through those 2 loops at the top. So one double crochet in each of our double crochets, working all the way around our hat. No more working in the back loops, just one double crochet in each stitch all the way around, and again we'll join back to our chain 3. I told you this is a super easy hat to stitch up, and with all the different yarn colors, the possibilities are endless. No one will have a hat just like yours. I completed row 7. I just stitched one double crochet in each of my stitches around, joined to my chain 3 and chained 3. So now what you're going to do is you're going to continue to repeat row 7 for 5 more rows. If you want your hat to be longer, you can always add more rows because we're just stitching one double crochet in each stitch around. All right, so repeat row 7 for 5 more rows. So I switched to another demo that I already had prepared with those additional rows. This brings us up to row 12. Now you can measure this to see if it's long enough, because now we're going to add some single crochet rows and then add the brim of the hat. If you want your hat to be longer on the sides, go ahead and add some additional rows of just one double crochet in each double crochet around, join, chain 3, and repeat. All right, but once your hat is the length that you want, after that 12th row, we're only going to chain 1, which is what I have done here, because we're going to stitch a row of single crochets. And this is going to help us have a little bit of a band before we add the brim on. All right, so we only chain 1. We go in that first stitch and stitch a single crochet. Now I'm almost out of the green yarn here on this particular project, so I'm going to grab another color. Let's go back to this pretty pink maybe, or how about this more of a lipstick pink, I think. All right, so I'm going to go in, I'm going to grab that and finish my single crochet. There we go. And now I'm just going to single crochet in each of those double crochets, working all the way around my hat. I stitched that row of single crochet around. I'm going to join to that first single crochet with a slip stitch and chain 1. And now what we're going to do is we're going to stitch 2 more rows of just single crochets. All right, so I'm going to go right in my first stitch and then stitch 1 single crochet in each of the single crochets around, and I'm going to do this for 2 more rows, and this will give us 3 rows of single crochet. And then we'll start the brim of our hat. All right, so we're going to stitch 2 more rows of single crochet, so we have a total of 3 rows of single crochet. I completed those 2 additional rows of single crochet. That gives us a nice band. Now you can change colors in your band if you want to. I did on my other hat. I just wanted you to see how it looked with 3 rows of single crochet. But again, change colors as often as you want to. Now I did change colors here. I joined to my single crochet with a slip stitch, and then I chained 3 because now we're going to add the band to our hat. And so what we're going to do is we're going to double crochet in the next single crochet, because that's a row of single crochets there, and then we're going to stitch 2 double crochets in the next. 1 and 2. And now we're going to repeat that. 1 double crochet in the next 2 stitches and 2 double crochets in the next. 1 and 2. And this is going to cause our hat to flare out and make that band. That's going to keep the sun out of our eyes. Looks like I have a little trouble there with my orange. It's kind of unraveled. All right, got the tangle out of my yarn. Back to what we were doing. 1 double crochet in the next 2 single crochets, and then 2 double crochets in the next. And like I was saying before the tangle, this is going to cause the edge or the band of our hat to flare out to give us that brim that we want to keep the sun out of our eyes. And see how that's starting to flare out a little bit? And so we'll just repeat this around. 1 double crochet in the next 2 and 2 double crochets in the next. And we'll repeat this all the way around the band of our hat. I completed row 16, stitching 1 double crochet in the next 2 and 2 in the next all the way around. You're going to have 80 double crochets. I joined to my chain 3 and chained 3. And now for row 17, you're just going to stitch 1 double crochet in each of those double crochets around. We're not going to increase anymore. We're just making our brim a little bit longer. All right? So 1 double crochet in each of the double crochets all the way around our brim of our hat. All right, 1 double crochet in each all the way around and join back to our chain 3. I completed that row just stitching 1 double crochet in each of those double crochets. Now I'm going to switch to do 2 rows of single crochet to finish off my hat. If you want the brim on your hat to be longer, you can add another row or 2 of the double crochet. My head is kind of short, so I don't want it any longer, but you may, like I said, have a preference to want that brim a little bit longer, and you can do another row or 2 of the double crochet if you want it to be a little bit longer. All right, so I'm going to join to my chain 3 and just chain 1, and now we're going to stitch 1 single crochet in each of those double crochets, working all the way around our hat. One single crochet in each of our double crochets all the way around. And then we'll join back to our first single crochet and then repeat that for 2 rows of single crochet on the bottom of our hat brim. 2 rows of single crochet. I completed those 2 rows of single crochet on the end of the brim of my bucket hat, and I'm done. So I'm going to cut my yarn, and of course I have lots of weaving in to do, but we're going to bring that loop to the back and tie that off to the back. Gives us a much nicer finish on the front. All right, of course, this is the back of my hat. This is the front. We did lots of color changes and had a lot of fun with this hat. And I will need again to take my needle and weave in those ends. So here's the bucket hat that I made today, and here's the one I made the other day. You can see they're similar in that they're striped. The pattern is exactly the same with all the different colors, makes it look different. And so depending on what color choices you make will depend on how your hat looks. I love them both. I'll probably keep them both. Or maybe I'll give one to each of my granddaughters. Either way, I love this bucket hat. Remember, you can use ombres, striping yarns, or make it all one color. Get in your yarn stash and just have some fun making some of these bucket hats. Oh, and on Friday, I'm going to show you how to make a fun scrap happy flower if you want to add one to your bucket hats. So be sure and watch our Friday Fun Day this Friday. We're going to make a 3-layer scrap happy flower.